Hey guys, Brian Delivers You the Goods here. I'm returning to you finally for this next all-time low marathon studio album review for, I believe, their fifth album. Don't Panic, It's Longer Now. The 2012 album I never came around to yet, and I was trying to get around to it yesterday for February 23rd, but I never came around to it. So, pretty much, excuse my yawning, I'm going to be doing that through most of the video, so if you do see me do it, then I'm sorry about that. But I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the 20-track record, the deluxe edition, which is Don't Panic, It's Longer Now. It's a deluxe edition version of the Don't Panic album, and let you know my thoughts on all 20 tracks that I listened to. So let's dive into this album review. Now it starts with The Reckless and the Brave, and that's actually a pretty strong track to open up the record. I really like Alex Yaskar's vocals in this. The instrumentation is pretty strong, and so far the mixing is pretty outstanding. So really dig this. It sounds like a back to their punk rock stuff or pop punk stuff that I really enjoyed, but it's strong. So definite 5 out of 5. A Love Like War featuring Vic Fuentes of Pierce the Veil. It's pretty good, but it's not one of my personal favorite tracks. The chorus doesn't really shine that impressively. It means it just doesn't have a catchy hook that I'm really enjoying. I mean, it tries, but it falls flat in some areas. But other than that, it's a 4.75 out of 5. Backseat Serenade is a strong track. I mostly enjoyed the vocals from Alex Gaskarth, and the backing vocalist sounded pretty good too. So I'm really digging this song. The mixing and the production in this is pretty strong, along with the drum work and guitar work is outstanding in this. So this is another 5 out of 5 for me. Me Without You, All I Ever Wanted, strong track for sure. Really enjoyed this one. I'd give it a 5 out of 5. And then pretty much it just most of the first 7 songs are pretty strong. Well, first 6 songs, if you don't include A Love Like War, because that one was the weakest one. But it wasn't the worst. It was still pretty good in its own way. It just had some issues. But back to what I was talking about, Me Without You is a strong track, All I Ever Wanted. So, 5 out of 5. If These Sheets Were Steaks is a strong track. Really enjoyed this one too. Alex Gaskar sounds pretty good vocally in this song, and just execution wise, this track was another banger for sure. 5 out of 5. So, Somewhere in Neverland is a strong track too. I like this one because it just has a good upbeat kind of vibe that I'm personally enjoying. Excuse my yawning, I'm getting ready to go to sleep pretty soon. I tend to do this when I do videos at night. But other than that, 5 out of 5 for Somewhere in Neverland. Strong track. Really enjoyed this song for how it sounded. So Long Soldier was pretty fast paced of a track. The melody was pretty strong. The drumming was pretty excellent, and just the guitar work was definitely kicking ass. So this track does rock for sure. And I like Alex Gaskar's vocals in this track, so 5 out of 5. Canals is a pretty good song in its own way, not one of my favorites, but not one of the worst songs, so 4.75 out of 5 for this one. I didn't hate how it sounded, it just wasn't my cup of tea too much. It was still playing it on the safe side at least. The irony of choking on a lifesaver, which is one of the weirdest silly titles for a song. Pretty good song. It plays it safe with the melody and all that, but I don't necessarily hate this track for what it goes for. So Alex Gaskar's vocals in it is pretty strong, so I really do dig that aspect about it. 4.75 out of 5. To Live and Let Go is a definite personal favorite track that I enjoyed. I really like the vocals from Alex Gaskar's, and I just love the melody and how it sounds, and the drum work and guitar work is pretty strong. So really digging this track. 5 out of 5. Outlines, it has a featured artist in this one too. I can't remember the featured artist, but other than that, Outlines is a pretty good song in its own way. It's going to get a safe 4.75 out of 5. It plays it safe too. It's not terrible, just not my cup of tea too much. Thanks to You is a pretty good song in its own way. I don't necessarily hate this one either. I just think some of the way Alex Gaskar's singing it from time to time is alright. And just the melody is like, plays it in a safe way. So 4.75 out of 5 for Baltimore is a pretty good song. I really like this track, so it's a strong 5 out of 5. I really do dig how the track sounds overall. So, yeah, pretty strong track from All Time Low. Paint Your Wings is a pretty good song in its own way. Not one of my favorites, but not one of the worst. I do dig how Alex Gaskar's singing in it is, but it's just some of the execution plays it a little too safe and just is hit or miss. So 4.75 out of 5. Excuse my yawning through most of this video, I'm just getting a little tired. It's been a day, basically. So long, and thanks for all the booze. Pretty good track. I like the drumming in this, and the guitar work is pretty strong. Alex Gaskar's singing vocals are pretty good from what I listened to, so really dug this about the track. 5 out of 5. Oh Calamity is a strong track too. I'd give this a 5 out of 5 as well. Really enjoyed Alex Gaskar singing in it, and just the structure and how the song is produced and mixed. It's pretty strong, along with the instrumentation being great, and just overall this track kicked ass. It was a fun track. Well, not a fun track, but it was a nice song for how it sounded. I have to go back and listen to it again to be 100% sure what I listened to, but I know I listened to this while I was going through the rest of the record, but other than that, it's strong. For Baltimore, Acoustic is a nice acoustic track that I personally enjoyed. It's going to get a 5 out of 5. Alex Gaskar singing along with the acoustic guitar work strumming it along was pretty nice, so really dig this. 5 out of 5. Somewhere in Neverland acoustic, nice acoustic track too. Really enjoyed this version of Somewhere in Neverland as well. Really dig the vocals from Alex Gaskarth in this. Sounds laid back and like they knew what they wanted to go for with this, so 5 out of 5. The Reckless and the Brave acoustic is a nice acoustic track too. I like the original track better, but this is still good for an acoustic song. So 5 out of 5. And finally, Backseat Serenade acoustic ends the record pretty strong in its own way. Alex Gaskar's vocals actually pull it off for this. I mean, not 100% pull it off, but it still sounds good. 80% or 75% of the time, it's pretty strong. And the other 25% has its weak tendencies, but other than that, still strong track. 5 out of 5. I mean, there's a few minor issues, but nothing to the point where it's terrible. So overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think Don't Panic, it's longer now for this album, is a strong record. It's actually a good record in its own way. It's not one of the best records I've listened to in All Time Low's discography, but it actually pulled it off in a safe way to make it a good record and a good listen. So I enjoyed some of the songs in here. but I wouldn't say this is gonna get like a very strong rating. But if I were to give it a pretty good rating, I think I'd be fair and give it a 8.5 out of 10. It's a pretty good album. It plays it safe for the most part. I mean, there's a few minor issues with certain uh, tracks on the record, with how the mixing and execution is, and the how the final product sounds for the tracks. It just depends. You're gonna have your good songs and your weak songs, but other than that, if you look at it through your own version and how you feel about the record, then if you enjoyed this kind of work that they put out, then you're gonna enjoy this record. I mean, the last record, Dirty Work, wasn't the best release they put out. It was one of the weakest ones, but I think this was a step in the right direction for All Time Low for this album, and I'm really digging this album. So 8.5 out of 10 for Don't Panic, It's Longer Now. I hope you enjoyed this album review. I gotta get going to sleep right now. But until then, I'll have another album review for Future Hearts coming out in the morning sometime, or late afternoon sometime. But with that being said, thanks for watching this review tonight, and you guys have a good night.